Well, to be honest with you, Sanjeeb, it's a surprise. I think along with everything else, when I first heard the news coming through last night over here in the UK, surprise really, because there were no indications. In fact, I was lucky enough to interview Sir Alex a couple of weeks ago, just ahead of the game against Aston Villa when they won his 13th Premier League title. And I can tell you that he was in fine form, he had his appetite for the game, and he gave no indication that he was in any way slowing down. Well, I think that you have to really set Sir Alex Ferguson aside from really when it comes to his achievements. If you take the Premier League era alone, so if you only go back 21 years, to think that he managed to capture the title and Manchester United the title 13 times makes him and his club an absolute standard bearer for the league. But beyond that, I think you're talking about standards. The thing that sets Sir Alex apart is the standard that he set for himself, because he always said he would never let himself down in terms of persevering to be the very best he can and also to do what he believed in. But also it was obvious that he expected those with whom he was associated. And, you know, that obviously would be the players, and you might have heard of the hairdryer treatments for players, for staff, for colleagues, but also, I mean, you know, woe betide the journalist who crossed him with a lazy question or what he might have perceived to be an impertinent question. You know, he expected standards of people in professional and even in their personal life that set him apart, I believe, as a leader. And that's what he'll be remembered for more than anything, an incredible winning ethos, but one that came because of this constant striving for success based on a certain strict criteria, if you will. Obviously for him, he could have the most skilled individual, but if the individual didn't work towards the greater good of the component parts, i.e. the football club and the team, then he would have no qualms in saying, well, as good as you are, I'm going to have to dispense with your services. And that obviously comes back to this business. It's easy to say he applied a certain strict moral code to things. I don't think it was quite like that. I don't think he always entirely told people exactly how they should live their lives. But if he felt that it was getting in the way of his ultimate goal, which was winning things for Manchester United Football Club, then yeah, you're absolutely right. He would get rid of even the biggest personalities. And the other thing you have to remember about Sir Alex is that he will not, as much as we might feel surprised by this, he has said it's something he's thought about for a long time. And you can be sure that someone as methodical as him will have put succession planning into place, which means that there will be a plan, a method, a scheme in place to continue the club's success. The other thing you have to realize is that his legacy is going to be in the essence of that club. I'm lucky enough to deal with former players on a regular basis, people like Roy Keane and maybe Gary Neville. And what comes across from those guys is they often tell us that the side wins games and maybe even wins leagues sometimes because of the belief within the spirit and the tradition of success at that football club. So I think it's a two-pronged thing. Firstly, yes, he will have put systems in place whereby you won't necessarily miss him in the short term. And by the way, he'll still be around. He'll still be able to influence signings, other clubs, managers. You know, he'll be around. But also, he'll have left behind this philosophy. And I think that is what's going to leave the club in good hands, no matter who it is that comes in and takes over. And for what it's worth, if I'm going to tell you that there's a succession plan in place, I think they have a pretty good idea who's in place, and we'll be finding out fairly soon. And I think some of the, shall we say, educated guesswork on the part of the media isn't too far from the truth.